Hi, Professor Taylor. I'm going to spend today talking to you about what I plan on packing and bringing with me to Great Oaks. It mostly will be what I bring as an English scholar and what I plan on using to help me start off. So I have my bag ready to go, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to put in it. So the first one is how I feel about writing and reading in general. I love reading. It is a great way for me to explore new worlds and escape this world, as well as just become new friends with new characters and get involved in a new plot line outside of the typical dismal life that we live sometimes. I also really love writing because it's a good way for me to just get things off my chest and really invest in what's going on inside of me, as well as how I can better the world through my own words. I love to read for enjoyment. This is one of my more recent favorite books. I love to read plays mostly because they're like books but condensed. So instead of reading a 900-page novel, I like to read 100-page plays where the story is done very quickly, but the characters develop very fast and you get very invested very quickly. So I really love Love Letters. It was a really great book. The books that I like to read are usually historical fiction or realistic fiction, as well as plays, which usually cover both of those spectrums. So I like to read books about people that could have existed but didn't exist, because I am a very emotional reader and I get very invested very quickly in people that aren't even real, and I end up throwing books across the room because I get so frustrated. I threw the 7th Harry Potter book across the room so many times the binding broke. And then I won't be able to pick up another book for so long because I'm so invested in that story, which isn't necessarily a healthy thing. So, yeah, I really like historical stories because it's not real people and I won't get too upset if I know that this actually happened to a real person. I also really like plays that are written from a different perspective. So Our Town is one of the books that I liked because it's probably one of my favorite books because it talks about people after they died. So the final act of the play is just people in a graveyard talking about people that are alive. And it's really cool to hear that perspective from something that we don't know anything about. I also really liked the book The Book Thief because it was told from the perspective of death, and having that personified was really cool for me. I really like to write, but I used to absolutely hate writing. When I was in 8th grade, I would sit at the computer crying because I couldn't get a sentence to go onto the page. So I had an English tutor when I was in 8th grade, and she helped me come up with different ways that I could become a better writer. She started by giving me this poem by Marianne Williamson, and I really liked that it talked about how we all have our unique voice and we shouldn't be afraid of our own success, which helped me get past the first words on the page and actually begin to write. So starting the writing process is always difficult for me, but once I know where I'm going, I have a very difficult time stopping to write. One of my favorite things that I've ever written is called We Are Pete, which is about my dog Pete. I wrote it for an English comp class my freshman year of college, and I absolutely adored writing this paper. It was just a cool way to write about my family, but in an interesting way, and break down what was so important to me, but put it on paper for other people to read. Finally, I will be packing love and support as prescribed, self-confidence, and finally, perseverance and motivation. Thank you, and have a